Hello friends, welcome to the lawn. It's the middle of summer, it's hot and it's dry, and I want to give you the tips to make sure your lawn stays green with less water and some common sense practices that are going to make a huge difference for you. Let's go. Some of you, not all of you, you're gonna need to hear this. Let's go with the basics first. Number one, if you're not gonna water your lawn and it's dry, it's gonna go drought dormant or it's gonna die. Those are the two things that are gonna happen. So there's not really any in-between space there. You can be a person that waits for the rain, or you can go out there and irrigate it. Now, secondly, it's not the time to stop everything. Stopping everything will result in you working on your lawn much later in the fall to try to bring it back. And let's be honest here, in this day and age, with home values and sales and things like that, a beautiful landscape, one that is well maintained and looks easy to care for, is going to crank up your property value if you're trying to get rid of your house. Okay, so let's go with number one, adjusting your height of cut. Hey, look, those little dials on the side of the mower that allow you to raise and lower it, they're not just there for looks, they are important. And at this time of year, raising up those blades, that's a big deal. We don't want to be out cutting the lawn a ton. Actually, less often would be better at this time of year at a bit taller mower height. So number two, and this is important, don't overfeed your lawn in the summer thinking that if you feed it more, it's going to be more green. That is not the thing to be putting out in the summertime on a cool season lawn. Warm season, go to town, have fun with it. You can go ahead and keep feeding as long as you're giving water to it to make sure that those nutrients make it up into the plant through the root zone. That's fine, okay? Go ahead and do that. But on a bluegrass lawn or a fescue lawn or a ryegrass lawn, something like that, you don't really need to be pushing it. It's a good time maybe to do small amounts of nitrogen, maybe some iron, things like that if you just need to color it up. But otherwise, don't be pushing your lawn. It's not the best thing to be doing at this time of year. Number three, subscribe, comment, throw in your own water saving tips down there. It all helps everybody in the community. And that's all we really want to do here is if you're trying to get a beautiful, beautiful green space that you can enjoy, that your family can enjoy, that'll boost your property values, that makes you feel good when you're on it, that's not a lot of work, that's not a lot of money, throw your tips down in the comments below. Share the love. Number four, one dry spot does not mean your entire lawn needs to get water. Let me say that again. One dry spot does not a dry lawn make, okay? Take care of those on a case-by-case basis. Find out if there's an issue there. Take a look, see if the soil is absolutely abnormally dry. Think through the process before you just start sending thousands of gallons across the rest of the lawn that might not need it. Walk around with your hose, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna point out one spot on my lawn. It has been dry all year, and it didn't dawn on me until this morning on what was happening in these particular spots. Very early in the season, I had a lot of rodent damage, and I still do. They're still hitting the same spot. And I got the bright idea that if I came out here with a bunch of elemental sulfur and tracked it around in those spots, it would help. Like they wouldn't like the smell and they would go away. Well, it didn't work at all. But I can see that where I applied it heavy, I am now getting a burn in the grass. And that is the only common contributing factor that I can come up with in the areas I'm getting dry spots. So what do I do about that? Well, it just is gonna take a little extra water and paying attention to the areas where that happened. Number five, knowing how much water your lawn really needs. There are a bunch of indicators that'll tell you if you're watering too much. Runoff is a huge one. If you're seeing water running off your lawn, you are watering way too much in one cycle. If you're seeing mushrooms growing all over your lawn, you are watering way too much. You need to back that down. Typically, and now it's always going to be temperature dependent, and that's why sprinkler systems are good and bad if you set it and forget it. If you're watering very heavy when the lawn doesn't need it, you're going to contribute to maybe some fungus development, some mushrooms, and you're gonna have kind of a mushy, squishy lawn with shallow roots. We don't want that. Now, you're gonna be looking at watering anywhere between 3/4 of an inch up to 1.5 inches a week, depending on temperature. That is all dependent upon temperature and how much water is being lost, how much water is needed to maintain that healthy stand. I just went a total of 10 days between watering cycles on this lawn here in the midsummer, and all I started to get were a few dry spots in those sulfur areas. So those were hand watered, and then the following day, I did 0.35 inches of water across the whole lawn. Now I'm going to wait another week before it gets water again and only address the localized dry spots. So there's a number of things that you can do if you want to see how much water can actually be absorbed into your lawn. And we're not talking tuna cans here. It is to water and watch. Get a cup of coffee, water and watch. As soon as you start seeing water pooling or running, shut off your irrigation or your sprinkler or your hose, whatever it is. Let it drain down. Wait about 30 minutes, hit it again, and just keep a timer going every time you run the sprinklers to getting it to that pooling or runoff level. That's a pretty great way to see how much is getting down into the ground and how much you can get into the ground in one watering. Number 6. Okay, so now we're gonna get into spending some money. If you really want to cut water and be more efficient, get a smarter irrigation system. As one of the best things I could say. Now, I still have some of my old one in here, and broken heads are a real thing. If you've got an irrigation system, check it every now and again. It is really important. Clogged heads cause problems. Broken pipes that are leaking cause problems. You're not going to be getting all the water onto your grass if you have an issue on any of your heads on a given station. It is important to inspect your irrigation system. Number 7. Keep your clippings on your grass. Keep them on your grass. Any of that organic matter that can go out there is just going to help. It's going to aid in keeping the ground more moist and less moisture loss. Now, there is at some point where you can overload that, but in the summertime with the slow growth, it's not gonna happen. Put those things back on the grass. Don't let them go. Okay, number 8, up to 8 now. The use of wetting agents and surfactants. I'm a big believer in this. I think it's fantastic what you can do. If you do have ground that tends to pool, applying a surfactant is going to help that get down into the ground. Just look at this right here. This is flooding an area with a hose, and this is just how fast that water gets down in the ground. That is vital. That is not sitting around on the top. That is getting into the roots where it needs to go. So that's important. Check the links down below for that if you want to have more information on that. But there's 2 options, and one of them that we could consider in doing this as well. The compost version of the wetting agent, the hydrate that we have, also absorbs and adds organic matter back to the soil. Kind of a twofold thing happening here. The compost will get a little bit of extra nitrogen going down the ground, very minuscule. Plus it's got the wetting agent as part of it. And now you're adding more organic matter. That's why that stuff has a ton of value in, keeping a lawn looking like this. Number 9, if your lawn wasn't green and healthy coming into the heat, it's probably not going to be green and healthy with the heat. It takes significant amount of water to bring something up into life in a heavy drought-stricken or high heat scenario. Is it worth trying to do it? Totally up to you and your pocketbook. We had great success at my neighbor's house bringing his back when it went all early summer with no water and pretty much died. It looks fantastic now. But that's just going to be a word of caution. If you weren't taking care of it before, don't plan on it looking great when it's under stress. Number 10, if you're gonna let it go brown and you want it to be green, paint it. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Stay cool out there.